This is round 2 of the Portrait 4. I did have one shipped to me prior from Amazon, and it had obviously been shipped out to somebody else previously. The box was cut up where the stickers had been, and it was kind of a mess. But I unboxed it anyway, tried to get it running, and it would not recognize that the media had been loaded. So we sent that one back, and they sent another one. This one does look brand new. There is nothing wrong with the packaging. So fingers crossed that we can get this up and running today. Silhouette's packaging is always super nice, well protected inside. I'm going to set this down for just 1 second. First thing you're going to get is this little box here. The first one was not packaged anything like this. It was kind of a mess in there. So fingers crossed this one goes well. In this box on the top, you get your power cord. It comes in 2 parts. In this little baggie, you've got some information. You have the power supply for the heat pen. The heat foil pens, I think that's the only power tool that works in the Portrait 4. I have to double check on that though. You do get an auto blade and the tool for the auto blade as well. The next thing you're going to find is your brand new cutting mat. This is like Christmas to me. I love a new mat. You'll find the styrofoam on each end. You want to carefully remove that so that the machine does not clunk around when you're pulling it out. Remove the padding. And then you're going to come to some packaging tape. We need to remove that as well. Open up the front. There's a little more protective material. Then you have your packaging tape here on the carriage. And there she is. So pretty. The next step in setup is getting it plugged in. Going to connect this end of the cord to that end of the power supply box. And that end goes into the machine. The power button is on the same side. Hold it down for 3 seconds, and there she goes. Beautiful. Now the blade goes into the Portrait 4 the same way as the blades go into all of the other machines. You're going to pull the tab out, insert the blade, and while you're pressing down on the top, push the tab back in. That's going to ensure that it is in properly, and you should be good to go with that. The next thing we're going to need to do is connect it to the software. During that time, we are going to check for firmware updates, which it should pop up in the send screen, and we can register the product as well. There are directions in this little packet that came in the plastic baggie with the blade and the power adapter. So that's going to tell you exactly how to register your machine. Now let's head over to the computer and see if we can get this up and running. Once you have your machine plugged in and ready to go, you're going to go up to the Send tab. You don't need any kind of design. Just head over to the Send tab and click on that. All the way down at the bottom, you'll see this little icon. It does look just like the Portrait. Click on that, and it's going to bring up a list of all of your machines. Right here we have the Portrait 4. So let's click on that. And you can see now that it is connecting. This does take a minute, so just bring your patience. It gets quicker after the first time. Now it says it's engaged, checking for a firmware update, and the firmware update is available. You want to click on Update Now. A warning pops up, do not switch off Portrait 4. So you want to just bring your patience and wait until this is complete. There we go. The carriage moved to the home position on the Portrait 4. We need to wait for this to say ready. Now it's trying to reconnect. And it's asking us to load media. Perfect. This is exactly what we want. Now I'm going to head to the Design tab. I just created a cute little decal here, nothing special, but my page is still set up for the Cameo 5. So let's go through and fix that real quick. We'll select Portrait 4, slide this up to the top, and I'm going to get my mat ready to run this through. First thing you do is remove the protective sheet. My design is just under 2 inches. I'm going to leave it a little wiggle room. And then we need to cut off at 8.5. And that should work perfectly. Going to line the mat up with the guide mark on the machine. Check that both rollers are in the correct spot. This one doesn't move. You want to make sure this one's in the right spot. And actually it looks like it's going to roll over the vinyl at that point. So let's move it over to the last slot. Perfect. The up arrow will load your mat. And in the send panel, it is once again saying no media loaded. This is the problem that I had with the first one. I was just about heartbroken. I went ahead, I shut down the computer, I shut down the portrait, rebooted everything, loaded it up again, and still it was giving me no media loaded. So I went onto the Google machine. It did take about 20 minutes, but finally I found on Reddit that it was a known bug in the version of the software that I was running. So I updated my software and ran it again, and this time we were good to go. So honestly, there was nothing wrong with the first portrait that was sent to me by Amazon. Anyway, we are back up and running. Make sure you are running the latest version of the software when you start up a new machine. Good advice for me. I've brought the design back onto the mat. We're waiting for connection now. It says to load media. And success. Yay! I almost forgot to switch over my material. Vinyl Silhouette Oracle 651. That's what I'm using today. Click on send. And send. It looks like it cut nicely. Can unload that. Perfect.